Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Digital 100. I'm your host, Patrick Wagner, and it's been a while, so if you haven't seen the video yet, then welcome. Digital 100 focuses on building digital business. So we go far past just digital strategy and digital marketing. We also go into all sorts of programming and processes and business building strategies, as well as going over specific case studies while keeping an umbrella of security over everything. Because as I know, and many people are finding out today, security is the number one thing you want to make sure you build all of your digital business on top of. You do not want to go forward with a business online and then realize after something gets stolen from you, whether it's your digital assets or actual money, then you realize how important security is. So that's what Digital 100 is about. We help business owners, new entrepreneurs, and startups. I provide free support via social media. So if you post a comment on this video or on my social media posts, at Patrick Wagner on Twitter, at wags. On Instagram. And when you do post any comments, I will get them and I will respond. So that way I can provide you with some sort of feedback and some answers and some support at no cost online. So take your time and comment on these videos and ask me any questions you have. Sometimes if I get good questions, I also turn those into videos as well. So today's episode, we're back and we're talking about search. Google's always providing great insight and information, and I come from a very strong background in search. Actually, my very first book was about SEO. I had to think about that for a second. But that SEO book really set me on the path of understanding how search engines work and how Google uses this information. And now I'm realizing the huge value it has for individuals in businesses to understand these things. And it's been, I guess the new word that's been thrown around for the last 5 years is customer experience, and how important it is to understand what your customer's experience is going through your store or going through your website or going through your social media experience, and understanding that so that you can tweak it, change it, and provide the customers with what they're looking for and what they came for, not what you want to sell them. So this search information really does provide that information and that insight. So I've got a couple of really interesting stats that I want to share with you. The first one right off the bat, right off of Q1 2019, where users click after searching Google. So that means you got on your device, you went to google.com, 48.9% of people do not click on a search. I don't think you understand. I have to say that without my screen on. That is a ton. So it's basically saying, I didn't even understand this stat until I kind of looked into it a little bit more, but that means that out of almost half the people going to google.com don't actually click on anything. And when you read a little bit deeper into the information, they're actually looking at this information and then maybe jumping to another app, let's say like Amazon, to buy, or jumping into another maps program to find out where that product exists in their area. So people are no longer using just Google as their full source. And that's important to know, and also to know that if you are showing up in Google results, people aren't using that information the way they used to. They're not just looking at it and clicking and then going there. They're sometimes looking at it and using that as a reference point when using their other apps. So that really blew my mind, and that's really important in understanding how your customers are finding you online. And that's a really big one. Next stat here, 120% increase growth in mobile searches for wait times in the last 2 years. What does it mean? Simple. When you go into Google now and you type in any business, whether it's pizza or a local restaurant, you'll see their hours, and then below that you'll see a little chart that shows when people are going there the most often, where they get the most phone calls, the most searches, and it shows a little tiny graph of that information. Well, now more than ever, not only are people looking at that, but they're using that information and searching wait times out so that they know whether it's a bad time to go and whether it's better to change their choice. So that way they know if the wait time is really long, they're not going to go, they're going to go somewhere else. I'm sure this would apply to a doctor's office or anywhere else you might have appointments. And I think it's fabulous. It starts to show you that the control is on the customer side. And you're going to have to provide this kind of quality of service and at least know these things matter and not just ignore the reviews that are bad when someone says, I had to wait 45 minutes longer just to get my first bit of food or whatever it might be. Next stat, a 55% increase in growth in mobile searches for menus in the past 2 years. That's 55%. So now more than ever, people are simply typing in whatever your restaurant is and the word menu, or whatever food they're looking for and menu. So more often than not, at this point, you must have your menu online. It must be in a downloadable format like a PDF. And then it also must be schema coded for Google so that it can pull all this information and spit that out in its system as well. So people are looking for this information, and it's important that you understand that. So the purpose of all this, and this is where it's going to get interesting for you as a business owner, today's business owner needs to understand their customer decision-making process first and foremost, not just your sales process. I think 99% of the people I talk to in business have no clue what their customer experience or the customer decision-making process is to coming to their website or in buying their product. And if you don't know that, you're literally going around blind making decisions. So it's super important at this point to start focusing on that and understanding your customer. Then you can learn where they are in other places online and then target those places with correct advertising, messaging, and other types of content to draw them in to what your experience and what your product and solution is. So don't just focus on selling, but actually try to figure out, how did the person come to your store? Talk to your customers, ask for that information, and don't do it in a passive way. You need to make some sort of an offer, give your customers some sort of an incentive, have some sort of specials or freebies and things you can hand out. Because when you ask a customer, how did you come here today? And they honestly tell you, oh, I went to Google Maps and I typed in pizza, or I typed in this. Oh, wow, great, thanks very much, here you go. That information is so valuable, and people in business really, really need to know that so that they get what their customer experience is. Next stat tells us we need to provide the information they need. Use pre-built packages and simple tools only if it's to help them save time and money. Now that's super important to remember, okay? So what information is the customer looking for, and bring it to the front as quickly as possible, and then come up with ways to create packages to make it easier for people to understand and pick what the options are. Because again, people are used to that, and that's what if they expect that as well. So make sure you look at your competitors and see if everyone's going to those other competitor sites and they have packages and they come to your site and they have to piece all these things together. It makes for a very complex and tedious experience. And so that brings us to our final point, which is get them excited. Okay? Relieve their anxiety, and you want to pull them into your experience, or they will select another vendor that does. Now, it's really, really important. I'm going to go back to that message. So one, get them excited. You have to be able to get people excited by the images and the words used on your website, your Google My Business listing, and so on. Relieve their anxiety. Now, everyone's anxious when they're looking and not sure of themselves. You want to provide information in a way that relieves that anxiety, not makes it more complicated with extra clicks, pop-ups, complicated processes to find your phone number or to call someone or to contact you through a website that nobody's really checking that email because you guys don't check that process. Those kinds of things. As soon as you bring some sort of anxiety and complexity for your customer, you're pretty much done. And I don't think anybody takes the time to do that. One of my favorite tricks for clients is simply spending at least once a week pretending you're a customer and going through the entire process and trying to see exactly how that works, as well as pretending to be an unhappy customer and seeing how your customer service process really is. You can also test that for social media by testing what a complaint would look like and how your team will handle it, and run through those scenarios. And it's extremely helpful in lowering the anxiety of your potential customers. Next, you want to pull them into your experience. So you want them to see the exciting aspects, the great parts about what you guys do, and all of those things that kind of make them feel like, wow, that's what I want to be. I want to be in that chair, or I want to be in that aspect, or I want to be in front of that plate, or I want that, whatever product or service it is you're offering. And if you're not getting that feeling, either is your customer. So make sure that's a focus for you. So this was just a little quick video about search and some of these changes that are happening. And remember, everyone on a smartphone device has a lot more expendable cash. So they are your target market and they are the people that you want to go after. So start adjusting your mindset for your business and start understanding what your customer decision-making process is and what their experience is through that decision-making process. The easier you make it for them, the quicker they will go through to the entire sales process, and they won't stray away and end up at a competitor's website instead. So take the time, learn about your customer, ask them questions, remember these stats, remember that people are now searching this additional information using Google, and also remember that people aren't just going to Google and clicking on those links and going to those sites. Again, because of that, it means you have to think about other platforms and make sure that you're covered on those as well. Anyways, have a great day, guys, and remember to keep building safe and secure digital business. Have a great day.